Recording and probably can get you one.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
And they weren't on the agenda, but I have them too, so I can double all that.
There you go.
I guess we're ready. Hello. All right, so we'll call this meeting to order. It is 5:30 on Wednesday, November 10th. And we do have a quorum. All members are present. So looks like we would go to citizen comments, and there's no citizens. So we can hop over to the next one, the approval of minutes from the previous meeting. We'll need that one. A motion.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes of the last meeting, October 13th, 2021.
I'll second.
Perfect. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, that passes unanimously. So the discussion items that we had tonight, A was the update from Big Bend Parks and Recreation for Kids. We have Letty here.
Not much change. We're still, we had set up some dates through the winter for the free movie nights, but we went ahead and canceled them when the cases started rising again, COVID cases. So we're gonna wait for things to calm down and then we'll start that back up again. So still in the holding pattern.
Was that a did y'all re-up y'all's license annual, or?
We did, yeah, so we still have the movie license.
So y'all got plenty of time to figure out how y'all want to use it. Awesome. Any other discussion with that, or?
I guess I was just gonna ask on the splash park, what's their goal for when that gets implemented? I know that was discussed some last time, but
Right, it's still just waiting to, for the funding to raise enough money to be able to apply for grants. I talked to Marcy, I think it was last week, and the city still has their portion that they've allotted to match. So once we hit that amount, then they'll match.
so you have to raise a certain amount and then you can
Right.
get the grants. Okay.
And I think that was around 200 grand, where that was the initial cost that they were thinking. So it was going to be 50 from the city, 50 from two other grants, I believe, and then 50 privately raised.
Right, right. And it may have gone up, that this was 2 years ago. So
Takes a while.
we all know how much construction's gone up
That's a good point.
since then, so.
May be good, just that it takes a while and the prices can settle back down.
Right.
All righty. I guess if there's no other discussion, we'll move on to Keep Alpine Beautiful. B on there. So Adelina is not here to mention anything, but they had their Arbor Day tree giveaway over there from Apache. And I don't know how many trees they actually had, but they had
400.
400.
400?
Wow.
And I think they were
And they
done.
give them away, all of them.
Good.
All of them.
Yeah, by Saturday morning, I heard.
Yeah.
Awesome. And the city did take a few for themselves, so they put them aside in case they need to replace.
Yeah, to replace the ones that were dying or dead.
Perfect. There might be some, that kind of falls into the next thing. There is, we had this Saturday, they're doing a tree trimming down on near Railroad Park. And it'll be up and down Fifth Avenue where Art Walk's going to be, and Holland, the railroad section, the depot, and then back over towards B Spa in that area. Everywhere where Art Walk is, and I think maybe even a little more depending on how much they can do. So if anyone wants to
When is
volunteer,
that?
those people. Saturday from 9
Saturday?
a.m. to 12. National Honor Society for Alpine ISD will be down there. A couple people, I think we only had 2 sign up, but and then some other private people, and I think even TxDOT may be down there with the crew that they have. So, and I was going to mention, the one good thing too is I think they're going to trim some in front of some of those businesses. The trees are growing into the signage over there, so they can clean that up, and that should help downtown those businesses. Guess any other comments on that? Keep Alpine Beautiful.
I sent an email to Adelina after she said that they used Roundup, and she said that they used hybridized Roundup. Now, I couldn't find anything on the internet. I'm going to keep searching, because as long as it has that glyphosate in it, you shouldn't use it, because it'll cause cancer for the people using it, and then it's not any good for it doesn't really there are other ways, but
What did they use Roundup on?
to kill weeds,
Where?
I don't know. I asked Adelina, she said they used hybridized Roundup.
I think it's going to be the grassland restoration project out near Sol Ross's section of Coconut. When they come in and I guess they
Oh,
were doing
yeah,
some
yeah,
work on
yeah,
that.
yeah,
See, and there, they definitely shouldn't use it. I mean, they're trying to attract birds and animals, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
And it's
I'll-
actually falling under West Texas Native Seeds and Caesar Kleberg Wildlife Research Institute and Texas A&M Kingsville.
okay,
So those are, I think, some of the organizations she said pushing
I'll
that.
go check on their websites and see what's in that.
Okay. The next one I was going to actually talk about was, or if nobody else has anything, I keep Alpine beautiful, I guess, update from the parks crew, Alpine.
Well, we fixed a leak over at, on the Tino Hans field. And I guess we're gonna have to start knocking those dugouts down, because they don't want them stepping into it anymore. They want them level. So I guess we're gonna have to break some of those blocks, on top of the blocks, break them down and fill up the holes with dirt and then pour cement, because they are kind of dangerous.
Which field did you say that was at?
Over here, Valentino Hans field on 11th. And then I noticed that one of the backstops, that one of the pipes came loose. I guess the well's broken and the dirt's pushing it out. So we're gonna have to go in there with the backhoe, dig it out and push it back out and tack it.
And the dugouts, the problem is that there's a step down.
Big step.
Yeah, yeah. And then the seats are concrete. So if somebody falls there, they're gonna break their head or,
Oh, so the step is into the dugout?
yeah, it's in.
Okay, gotcha, it goes
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, it goes down.
So what part are you gonna break up?
Like the
They're
top.
gonna become like the dugouts at the Little League.
Yeah, but it's like a top, because before it was all of it was center blocked, and then it had a roof on it. But they knocked it down. When they told us to knock it down, we knocked it down and covered everything else, covered it up and took down the fence, but they didn't want nobody playing out there. And then a few years later, they decided to let them play out there, so we had to break up everything and just redo them again. But yeah, we need to knock them down, at least a layer. You know, you go in, it's a layer of center block.
Do they need to be filled up to where they're completely flat, or could they be filled up where there's still a slight step?
No, it's better to go flat. Yeah. And just fill them up and then pour cement over a slab.
Gotcha.
So you could probably fill it with the stuff you're gonna break, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so that'll cost, I mean, that won't cost so much if you do
That's
that.
good,
So
yeah.
that's good.
I guess any other updates on that? I heard that there was a leak over at Coconut, or was that, Adelina had mentioned that?
There was a leak, there's a leak at the Manuel Payne and International Field. But every time we order parts, they send us the wrong parts. And so we gotta figure out a way how to do it without having to go and order parts, wait 2-3 weeks and then have the wrong part come in. So we're gonna have to, I think I'm gonna do a PVC and just cover it up. Because I mean, there's a lot of, we did it and then we checked that we were taking it. There's a lot of pressure in that. We waited and 5 minutes there, it just blew the whole pipe. And that was scary, but everybody started running.
I bet.
So we're gonna have to just fix it and cover it up and let the weight of the dirt handle it.
How thick is that pipe?
6 inch.
6 inch.
Yeah.
Is there a limit to what you guys are required or certified to work with compared to water department?
Probably, but I don't know. You know, I don't know how you would want to go with 6 inch though. I mean, Jesus, that's 4 inch would have done good, just as good. But the 6 inch is about that big and it's got a lot of pressure. I mean,
So I was wondering where at some point, people that work in water, would have the tools and the know-how
yeah.
on the bigger stuff. Any other questions for the parks? Okay. Oh, the one comment I was going to make on that was that, and you'd be interested in this one, Karen, the last meeting, Robert had mentioned about the aquifer levels and stuff like that. And they had mentioned that they quit watering in, is it June or July? In July?
In June.
Into June. due to aquifer levels. I reached out and Jessica Washington, the interim utilities director here, said they measure the water depth at every level, at every well each month, and there was no significant changes to the aquifer levels. They only asked Parks Department to stop watering. It's due to things like water emergencies, wells down, storage tank maintenance, SCADA systems down, etc. And that's only to, make sure they have to provide adequate potable water to the community instead of watering parks if there's an issue. But there's no, it seems like there's no aquifer levels or anything else
Okay,
currently. And they do check monthly, so that's good to know.
that is good to know.
Okay. The next one I was kind of wondering is discussing the watering processes at the city parks. And the one question I really wanted to reach out and ask was, it seems like over the years, I think I had mentioned that y'all put in water lines, if you plant trees and you'll direct a water line over there. And I kind of walked through with Robert on some areas. So what I'm really interested in is if we look at a Google map or something like that, top over, if parks would be able to kind of just show us where the water lines are within there, only because then we could actually look and say like, this area doesn't have access to water and this does, or where the actual turrets go and shoot and stuff like that. Just to kind of have, I don't know if there's ever been an audit of that to kind of see.
Yeah, like a schematic. I don't know. I mean, everybody who's been here says, well, I don't know, the records are over there, so I don't know who's got them.
Because I think that would be like, if someone did the legwork of all that, that'd be super nice for y'all. Then you could just hand it over and say, here's where the water lines are. There's your leak. It's probably going to be in one of those
That would
areas.
be nice. You can see where it's getting overwatered and underwater.
That's true. If you did audit on like how far they shoot or anything else like that. And the reason I brought that up is somebody had mentioned soccer fields were having issues getting watered and over there. So what went through my head was, I wonder if there's actual water lines out that way to be watered on that. Because I mean, I'm sure they get a lot of use on stomping and stepping and everything else like that. I know Payne Field, the baseball fields always look good.
Yeah.
So they must be getting water for sure. So there's nothing.
You can't talk to Jessica about that?
I can reach out to her.
Because I mean, I've been with the parks for 5 years and nobody's ever said anything.
Okay, so you've been with Parks for 5 years,
Yeah.
but with the city longer.
Yeah, I did the other with the street department.
Gotcha. And so nothing was handed over to you as far as where those lines were.
I've never seen one.
And if
You would think they would have something drawn up
I
over
have a
the years showing.
1950 water map of Alpine, but that won't do you any good. So I know they were doing something back then,
something's happened
We
between
need to
them.
hold on to that.
Yes.
When y'all actually lay a line, y'all come back and mark it so that in the future, like if you laid a line.
Yeah, we know just about where everything goes, yeah.
Okay, do y'all know it? Do y'all mark it down on paper for future
No.
reference? Okay, that'd be good to walk through and
Yeah.
especially
Yeah, that'd
make
be
sure you
something
don't
to
get
do.
hit by a bus. And then, we have all the lines marked. Any other ideas or stuff with watering processes or?
I don't know, I think. Is there anywhere at the parks where we could put a water catchment bin?
There's one idea and I thought you might like this one for the dog park. So,
Sure, that would be a test case.
okay,
I mean,
that's exactly what I was
sure.
thinking.
And I could chip in some money on the barrel, buy it. And we could try to get someone to connect it up and see what we can do.
Okay,
Sure.
Because it should be pretty cheap. I mean, it's gutters, a barrel and a
Yeah,
hose,
I
right?
wouldn't need 100 gallons for the water, for the dog park, but maybe a smaller one that would, let them wash the dog's paws or whatever and give them some water to drink and stuff. Yeah, I'll check into a barrel.
perfect.
I think that's a good idea. And like I said, I listened to the last meeting. I wasn't here, but I liked what you said, and it's pretty cost effective. And, especially if there's areas where you could turn around and use that water pretty close with a hose or whatnot.
Have you seen that little house
Then
in
why
front of the
not?
country club? They have solar power and they have water catchment. And it's just that little house, and the water catchment system they have would be enough for them to do their whole home. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a small house, but that's nice. I mean, and that's the goal, of course, down the line, but
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Just kind of pilot it in one place and see how it works.
So that actually is directly into this. If there's no other ideas on water, then the dog park leads directly into that.
cool.
Perfect. So the next one, E, dog park ideas is basically, I think I've been on the board about 2 years now, and they've mentioned on having a project there. And they always, I think the idea has always been, the complaint's been shade out there because it's kind of wide open. So I looked over on Google Maps, and I think it's probably about 45 feet wide and about 300 feet long. Splits into two, right? Little dogs, big dogs. The little dog one goes 100 feet to the left. Big dog one goes 200 feet to the right. Robert and I had walked a long time ago, actually, and brainstormed a little idea. So what we were thinking is the fence that goes right in the middle that separates the big or the little and the big dog parks, having a shade structure that goes over that, so it covers both sides.
Oh, nice, nice.
And what would end up happening there is I started talking, Robert's son actually does welding for the school, Adam, and those kids need a project.
Ooh.
So everything may line up and work really well. But what we were thinking is there's a couple benches out there, so possibly going 35 feet on each side and 15 feet deep. So it's going to be a pretty big shade structure. There'd be 70 feet long by 15. And then it would be angled, and you would put gutters on the back end.
Yeah.
And so now you have a shade structure that's getting that water. And I spoke to Will Jewett, who does a lot with trees here. He said a roof that size, each side would do about 2 barrels of water, 55 gallons per half inch of rain.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
What we could do is that would go to the gutter. And then he was even talking about if we didn't do a containment system, you would still have it come down and go into what they call like a basin.
Uh-huh.
So it dumps into a basin, and it's directing that towards a landscape
And
feature.
that way eventually seep down into the groundwater.
And then those trees, he said, those trees will grow a lot faster with nitrogen water as opposed to coming. And I had spoke with Megan on things, and I think a large issue, that parks has to face on a daily basis is that there's 13 parks and 5 people to do everything.
Right.
So from my perspective, what I really like is when we move forward with projects, if possible, to keep their workload the same or even make it easier, whether things, so I want things to be as passive as possible
Right.
for them if possible. But just to say that too, on the dog park, roof goes back, gutters, so you'd have a 70-foot wide, 70-foot long roof, 15-foot wide, and then on the end where the water comes down, maybe a mulched section with a tree and some landscaping. The mulch can come from the city because the city gets free mulch. And also reached out to Alpine Humane Society, Janine Bishop. Adam said the process could be, the roof structure alone would be $4,000 to $6,000. But AHS said they might be able to, Humane Society might be able to split the cost, and we could fundraise the other half of it, maybe go into local businesses or something.
Sure.
And the roof would be metal.
It would be hopefully square tubing for the things or whatever matches the baseball fields over there. I really want everything to be aesthetically themed if possible. Do y'all have any ideas on all that kind of stuff too, or other things too, while we're all thinking dog park feedback?
No, it definitely needs a shade, so the trees would be a great on the ends there. And then the shade in the middle. Do you have benches under there?
There's benches under there.
That way, they can sit with the owner. That's great. That's great.
And some of those benches are a little rough, so they may need to. At some
Bring a
point.
cushion.
Well, they haven't been covered.
That's true.
Been
Good
uncovered.
point. A lot of sun damage. And we were thinking, then I was brainstorming with a friend, you might even have on the back wall section like a board with some hanging hooks. And then if you come with your leash or a backpack, if you walk up there, then you can hang that there while you have it if you don't have a table. And I reached out to Janine Bishop. Their budget will actually roll over in January. So we might need to fundraise in December, January, but the work could possibly happen if we moved on it February, I'd say January or February, even if everything came to fruition. And the labor's free because of Adam Yanes. And
Well, actually, it's not free. Eric was gonna donate some money so he can buy supplies
oh, cool.
when they need something.
Well, and we could put that into the fundraising part of it, or HS, Humane Society. And I was thinking, oh, you might even have like on one side, you could have a thank you board where anyone that donates through like a GoFundMe or whatever else like that, they could sign their name, and then that's kind of
There you
on
go.
there for something.
Exactly. Make it really user friendly and attract more people.
Yeah, I think people want to use it. And there's some dog owners.
It's just hot.
Yeah.
That's
The,
great.
So the only thing I was gonna ask on that, you know, the baseball dugout that's right near there, that's what blew over in the wind. So,
Uh-huh.
so do structures like that, do they have to be rated to certain wind
It should.
mile per hours, or that's just something to consider
Yeah.
when you're designing it and getting the welding folks to do that, just to be sure it's protected.
It's not like we get any wind or anything. is it?
Yeah. You don't want it flying off like that thing did.
and then liability if it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing nobody was there when that thing blew over.
Right? That was something
Wow.
else.
We have wind for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
The other thing I was going to mention on that would be we could move with that this year to kind of provide shade. So we're providing the water, water catchment and stuff there, and landscaping, which I think will be awesome. And that could be a win for the dog park. It would be really nice if we finished it off and then we don't have to think about it anymore, you know, outside of a little bit of maintenance.
Right.
And I was thinking the following year, when I was walking away, the skate park also is right there with no shade.
And it needs work.
That could have like a little shade structure built there. And anywhere we build a shade structure with a roof, we can basin out a tree for water catchment.
And maybe this time we can consult a skater or two to see,
Yeah.
you know, how to do
Absolutely.
that.
I guess, so really on that, I'll probably send out some information and that way with
dude,
some
please
maps
do.
and y'all could see some stuff, some ideas.
Great.
If there's no other things on dog park, then I guess we'll go to the splash pad. Okay, splash pad. Somebody had asked about the water, I think, on that one last time on how it happens. So I reached out to Odessa. They have splash pads. This is a little long, but it is, I'll just read you what their response was on, I guess, how it gets water. So he said, our splash pads are filled with city potable water and the water is recirculated like swimming pools. Additional potable water is added as necessary to maintain proper operation. System has chlorinators and a UV light system in place for disinfecting purposes as required by state code. So good to know about state code. Can't use gray water. We did try to use well water on one of the swimming pools, but the cost associated with chemicals to maintain proper chlorine levels was way more expensive than starting with potable water. The manufacturers do offer systems that spray and dump, in which potable water is used on the splash pad and the water is drained into the sewer or a nearby pond. I think this would be a good consideration for a small splash pad where the cost of the potable water is lower than the cost to recirculate. Spray pad company can do these takeoffs estimates for you. Due to the recent amoeba outbreak in Arlington that killed a child, disinfection systems on recirculated water will probably be increased and standards more rigid. Splash pad features must be disinfected, cleaned regularly. State Department of Health regulates pools and splash pads, and I would recommend taking a look at these regulations.
Wow.
So sounds like I guess we'll get smart people
Yeah,
to do it.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Send us that by email. But,
Send this to emails? Okay.
yeah, please. That was
We
interesting.
walked that splash pad, Robert and I, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We went out and visited that splash pad in Odessa, and that thing is massive.
Wow.
It's gonna take up a lot of room. A lot of trees are gonna have to come down if you still
Well, it all depends on how
install
big
it
you build
where it was originally gonna be installed.
Wow.
Trees are gonna have to come down.
We went to one in San Antonio and it's got, it has several smaller water parks. So it depends on what size really,
Mhm.
you know, you make it, you can make it small, big,
Since
medium.
we already have a swimming pool, we don't really need a huge one, do we?
No, I think it's, you know,
Just
I think
something.
Alpine would be happy to have anything for the
Yeah.
little ones because,
Right. Because they can't get in the water.
right,
And Marcy had said she wanted to add that park staff has said that a recirculating system will not work with the current intention to tie into the existing pool system. So they could have a recirculating system, but it won't, they may have actually tried to physically situate it closer to the pool so that they could tie those two water systems in. But it sounds like,
That's
so you
not
may
gonna
be able to move it to a different area where you're not knocking trees down and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
If it just has to tie into the city system somewhere else. But I think
Well,
this
if
is
you
very
do a
early.
smaller one, it would probably fit there, but
Yeah.
not the one like that's in Odessa.
Oh, yeah.
West
And-
Stockton has a really small one.
yeah, theirs
Do they?
isn't that big.
Yes.
Mhm.
And what size is the one for City? Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, I haven't seen one.
I
in
it's
Fort
haven't
smaller.
seen that one.
Oh, okay.
The one at Fort Stockton was put in place when they closed down the city pool, because they had a big pool there. They closed it down years ago.
Did y'all price out a certain size?
It was priced out, it was before I joined.
Now I was thinking too, like,
That's when Ecto was still here.
and I think by the time that comes to, by the time people start really getting that planning stages on it, like so much has changed with inflation and everything else that.
Well, if they're gonna have, more regulations
Oh,
and
yeah, that's true. I'll email that to you guys. and
Right?
Please do.
have fun with that one.
But that one in Fort Stockton is nice, because it's in a park, it's in a good location. There's picnic areas, it's reserved for parties.
That's nice.
So.
yeah, because it was put in a park already, so it
Yes.
was already a park, so. But yeah, I mean, it's good they have shade, they have, I think
And
they still
some
have a
areas
playground
have
there.
shade, yeah. And then the other ones just, yeah, it does have for the picnic tables, that's all under, that's shaded. So,
Perfect. I guess if there's nothing else with the splash pad, then move on to discuss moving benches and tables at Coconut Park. This was obviously had kind of a question on that one.
Yes, we talked about it a little bit last time, and I wasn't sure if y'all were able to move some of the benches that were they were out in the sun, and I had people going and telling me, "You're got the only seat. You're sitting in the only place where there's shade," and I was like, "Ooh." I didn't even notice it until they pointed it out to me. So I just didn't know. I mean, all you have to do is really just move the benches to where there's shade. And the people were there between 2 and 3, so.
Well, actually, there's 13 of them, and out of the 13, only 5 of them sit in the sun. So, and it doesn't, there's no sense in putting a cover on it, because when the sun hits a little bit further down, you're still gonna be in the sun.
I was gonna say, I think most of them are under
Shade.
trees or under shade somehow, but
Yeah, no, I don't know. I sent I sent them to Gio, I think, or to Megan the pictures of all the ones that were under the sun.
And the ones that don't have, I guess we could plant some trees and wait 20 years.
I say, I mean, at one point, they're all gonna be in the sun at
Yeah,
one point or another, as it, depending on the time of day.
That's what Will was telling me. I didn't really think about it. He said in the summer, the sun kind of goes directly over,
Mhm.
and then in the winter, it kind of comes at an angle.
Yeah.
Right.
And then once the leaves fall, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be in the sun.
they're all gonna be in the sun.
And it feels
But it's
good in the
nice
winter
when
when you're in
it's-
the sun.
But it's nice when it's cool, because you have that opportunity to move to a place where it's
Yeah.
warmer. Because I do that. Like if I take my grandkids and I'm not comfortable in the shade, I'll go and get some vitamin D naturally.
Yeah.
Right?
There you go.
So
Yeah.
it's always good, and it's, it feels good.
It is so good. It's good for your skin.
Are those, I know like the ones when we did a walkthrough on Medina with you recently, those are like buried in the ground and 15,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Are the
Well,
ones,
some of them are anchored to the cement, and then some of them are made out of cement themselves. And 2 years ago, we tried to move one because we had to cut down a tree. And I guess we must have pushed it too hard, and we broke it.
Right there.
and so the coconut ones are similar heavy?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, what they were like. Okay, cool. Is any other questions on that, or? The only other discussion item we have then is any comments or complaints about parks from board members or that they've heard from citizens.
I haven't heard any.
It was only that they were mad. Because they were like,
They're looking for a place to.
to
Sit.
sit, yeah, they're like, we come here every day between 2 and 3, and I hadn't gone to a park in, I don't know, years actually. And I was like, okay, so I stood up and I looked all around, and they were all in the sun. I was like, okay. So my meeting ended up kind of quick. Bye.
Any with you, Ben or Letty?
No complaints. Do we have any updates on Pueblo Nuevo?
Last meeting we did, and I think
Okay.
really now that I'm trying to think about it, it was just that it is, so no updates since the last meeting.
I think that's what it was.
And really, I think it's just a really long-term process. I can reach back out to Marcy and check again before next meeting to see if there's anything, but
I don't know if you might not have gotten the attachment that she sent us or could put for us here.
gotcha. I'll send that one. Ben was asking about those. I'll shoot
Because it's
those.
just like a timeline.
Okay. I don't know why I thought it was gonna be like breaking ground here in the next few months.
Oh, I think it's a lot longer than that.
Okay.
Because they did tell us January at the beginning.
Yeah, I thought it was something here,
It was
here coming
January.
up. When we had the meeting at the park,
We had the
at the
meeting.
actual site.
And
That's
then,
what I
and then
thought.
the other thing that they discussed was that they're not gonna do parking. So it's gonna hurt the area because it's not an area where there's a lot of parking anyway. So it's gonna be, yeah, because we had asked could they come in a little bit, but I guess because it's already been approved. Which it's funny because there's been a lot of plans for that location. There's been plans that had parking, and then all of a sudden you get a plan without any parking.
But,
So-
well,
So it's gonna be like Coconut, where you park just parallel against the street,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's already,
it's
Pretty narrow.
It's very narrow.
you know, I guess G's a little wider, but H,
H is
Right.
not white.
yeah, is a little more.
And
Narrower.
Yeah, it's even more narrow now because they went ahead and paved our roads. And it's really narrow. So, yeah. It's not gonna be a lot of space on H. I have to be on Gallego or the other one. And on the other side, not a whole lot because there's like trees that they planted on that side, right? Yeah. What
I
is
think
that?
they are gonna remove them.
The trees?
I don't have it with me. But they are gonna remove it. The trees are gonna change. as they
the
have
trees
right
are
now.
already there?
Right, yeah. I
No,
think
not
so.
those. Those are
Oh.
The ones that
staying.
are on the side,
No,
I don't know who planted those.
I think those are
On-
staying too, because
Yeah.
when we looked at it, we said all trees would stay, yeah. All trees, and it's good, I mean, because if people can,
I think they
Yeah.
had some trees that were just like on the diagram, but I don't think they were like, that's where they're gonna go. I think they had some just for,
right,
just to show trees, but
I'll reach out to Marcy and see if we can get like at least a year in advance timeline. So we can see when the grant would be accepted and when they might start moving dirt and those things, just so we can see it from a time perspective
Right.
on it.
That would really be great.
I just thought it was gonna be,
that's what they had told us January,
right,
at the beginning, so. The break ground, not that they're just.
right,
to
right, just to get,
announce, yes,
Well,
Movement.
I mean, I thought so too. I was almost going into my meeting files to see. I said, I thought we had already done all of this, so. I might have to.
The only thing I'd heard was from last time I drove by the other day and saw that it still needs to get done is scoops over there. The dog sign that's facing one direction just needs to be turned over because in that little park over there where the dogs are gonna be in.
Right there by the depot. That one?
Well, Scoops Ice Creamery right across from
Old Town
Oh,
Square,
from True Value.
Yeah.
Old Town Square,
Old Town
right?
Oh,
Is
I
that
thought
one?
you meant right there by the depot.
no, Old Town
Okay.
Square. So that one, if you turn the dog sign around
Uh-huh.
so that the people with dogs can see it. And there's one tree over there that's encroaching upon the street light.
Mhm.
It could be trimmed back, but that would honestly be probably a good time for that would be January to February, probably February or something, or late January.
We're still having a lot of vandalism. The street, the sign when you drive in between the golf course and the park, when you drive into it, somebody stole that. Pick up your poops. Pick up after your dog. Somebody stole that sign.
Oh, God.
I mean, there's at this park over here that that flagstone that's on the ground. I don't know, kids are picking them up and just breaking them. I mean,
Oh, God.
there's a lot of pieces missing. I guess we're gonna have to go with cement or
Cement?
something because
Gosh.
they're gonna tear it up. They're tearing it up regardless of what's there.
I know a few years ago when I was still at the PD, they had talked about, when Chief Scout was still here, purchasing some cameras just to place around town. Did did that ever come to fruition? Just to kind of maybe,
And the ones they have at the,
catch these people
Yeah,
and
the
or at
ones
least
that-
deter them if they see cameras, they may not.
yeah. And then one of the guys Jay, somebody wanted to put some fake ones. I said, well, once they find out they're not working, they're gonna start. tearing
Then
it
they'll
up.
turn the camera up.
Yeah.
They get mad.
I had asked about that. There was supposed to be a grant for the cameras for around town. When Jessica was here and then nobody knew about it.
Yeah, because I want to say it was right after
So,
Zuzu
let's go.
went missing and we were having to get security cameras from businesses and homeowners, and it would have been so much nicer to have city-owned cameras that we could access immediately.
No kidding, yes.
Yeah.
So I did ask and they had no idea. They who knows what happened.
Kind of went away.
It would be nice, but somebody said they were pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Cameras are never cheap,
No.
and especially. I guess we have no action items, so if there's any board member comments or anything,
No, I don't have any.
nothing. Perfect. I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all approved? Aye. It's unanimous, all right, and we'll meet at the next meeting. I think will be second Wednesday of December, whatever that day is. Perfect.